My dear students of class 8A and 8B, welcome to my class and good afternoon. Now I am going to introduce you the two states importance. Number one, Hyderabad, and the role of the rulers of Hyderabad and Mysore. The first one, Hyderabad. Who was the ruler of Hyderabad and what did he do and who was the founder ruler of Hyderabad? Now I am going to describe you. Hyderabad was a state which was founded by Mir Kamaruddin Khan. Who was Mir Kamaruddin Khan? Mir Kamaruddin Khan was a powerful noble in the court of the Mughals, right? Mir Kamaruddin Khan was chosen by whom? Mughal Emperor Farrukhsiyar. Farrukhsiyar considered him to be a very reliable one and gave him special power. And afterwards, Muhammad Shah appointed him as the governor of Deccan. On being the governor of Deccan, Mir Kamaruddin Khan proved his talents, his skills. In each sphere of life, Mir Kamaruddin Khan proved that he was a talented ruler of Hyderabad. And as a governor of Deccan, he realized that it should be his first and foremost duty to protect his state from the attack of the local power, the Marathas. That's why from the very, very beginning, my dear students, Mir Kamaruddin Khan was alert. He was not only alert in suppressing the growing power of the nobles, but also was alert in making his army powerful for chasing the other powers who were trying to occupy certain areas of his state. That's why Mir Kamaruddin Khan, for his wonderful contributions, was given many titles by different Mughal emperors. For example, Aurangzeb gave him title Chinkiz Khan, and next Farrukhsiyar gave him title Nizamul Mulk, and Muhammad Shah gave him title Asaf Zah. So, on being assumed the title from Muhammad Shah Asaf Zah, Mir Kamaruddin Khan founded Asaf Zahi dynasty. Mir Kamaruddin Khan founded Asaf Zahi dynasty. During his rule, the glory and fame of the state Hyderabad reached to its highest extent. There was no dishonesty in the state. There was no poverty in the state. People were happy, rich, prosperous. Law and order was established strongly. There was no casualty. There was no distress. There was no contentment among the people. Everyone was happy and prosperous. That's why, under the rule of Mir Kamaruddin Khan, a good system of administration also was introduced. As a result of it, law and order was established, and peace and good anticipation, good understanding, and good interaction also was there throughout the state. And Mir Kamaruddin Khan ruled from 1724 to 1748. As an independent ruler, he ruled throughout the state. The province made remarkable progress during his rule, but after the death of Mir Kamaruddin Khan, his successors were not as skillful as Mir Kamaruddin Khan was. That's why there was no system throughout the state, and as a result of it, his descendants were involved in a struggle for succession. And hence, who took its advantage? The Marathas. The Marathas took its advantages. The Marathas came forward and the Marathas rose to power. The Marathas rose to power. The Marathas decided to impose Chout on the weak state, Hyderabad. After the death of, Mir Kamaluddin Khan, most of the rulers were known as Nizams. So, the Marathas decided to cross the power of the Nizams. The Marathas not only were there, but the British also was there. The British also decided to march towards Coromandel coast, which was a place full of, full of cotton production. Cotton production gave it a special importance, the state, right? That's why the British from the very, very beginning was interested to have established their rule in that particular area, Coromandel coast, only because of the valuable things they wanted to send to their own country, England. What was it? Textile. That's why cotton textile was a very important, production for them. They wanted to send it to their own country, England. And next one, the people during the age, were happy. The people of Hyderabad were happy till Mir Kamaluddin Khan was alive. But after the death of Mir Kamaluddin Khan, there was none to look after the administrative system introduced by Mir Kamaluddin Khan once. That's why, my dear students, the weak successors remain busy in making confrontation against each other, and other powers like the Marathas took advantage of it. They imposed Chout. What is the meaning of Chout? Chout means one kind of tax which was introduced by, which generally introduced by the Marathas. Wherever they established their control, they always imposed Chout on them. That's why they also imposed Chout on whom? On the state Hyderabad, the state, Deccan. Ultimately, the condition of, Hyderabad, the condition of Deccan became very, 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 deplorable under the weak successors. There was none to look after it. That's why, my dear students, the rule of Mir Kamaluddin Khan gave importance in the history of not only Hyderabad, but in the history of India, because of his wonderful performance, wonderful skill, wonderful talents he showed. The next point, Mysore. Our next point, Mysore. Mysore. Mysore was a state where earlier Mysore was a state which was controlled by Vijayanagar kingdom. It was controlled by whom? It was controlled by Vijayanagar kingdom. But after the disintegration of the Vijayanagar kingdom, a number of states in the south declared themselves independent. Mysore was one of it. Mysore also declared its independence despite the recurrent attacks from the neighboring kingdoms. Under the leadership of Hyder Ali, Mysore soon emerged as a powerful state, powerful kingdom in the south during 18th century. Hyder Ali began as a foot soldier. Hyder Ali started his career as a foot soldier. But later on, he became the ruler of the kingdom in the year 1761. Afterwards, Hyder Ali decided to check the growing power and influence of the zamindars, and he also improved the style, life, they improved the miserable conditions of the peasants and farmers. Peasants and farmers who had no capability of facing the rulers. Hyder Ali was the first person sent a message that in spite of being a ruler of Mysore, he was a man. He was a man could understand the language of the miserable people of Hyderabad, miserable people of Mysore, especially peasants and farmers, who always had, who always were scared of facing the rulers. But Hyder Ali proved that he was not a tiger, but ultimately he was a man. But his son, who was his son? His son was Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan proved himself to be the tiger of Mysore. Although Tipu Sultan was known as Tiger of Mysore, yet Tipu Sultan was very sympathetic towards the common people. He was also known as Tiger of Mysore in a sense. He could fight like a tiger. He could resist. He could take decision, any type of decision which was very hard to take. Immediately he immediately took the decision and tried to realize it. And his bravery, his strategy, his technique and method as a ruler, as a soldier, as a military commander, in every field, Hyder Ali proved that he was very powerful and a very courageous ruler. That's why he assumed the title, the Tiger of Mysore. Anyway, my dear students, Hyder Ali, at the time when Hyder Ali's father, Tipu Sultan, took help from the French army, and the French army provided them proper training. That time, during the First Anglo-Mysore War, the army of Hyder Ali defeated the British in the First Anglo-Mysore War. And ultimately, in the year under his supervision, Mysore grew such a prosperous and strong kingdom that was considered to be a formidable enemy by the British East India Company. But afterwards, his son Tipu Sultan also proved him that he was a worthy son of a worthy father. Tipu Sultan also made a very strong kingdom, Mysore, during his rule. And he also brought so many modern weapons and provided European training in his army, and gave importance to agriculture, modern trade and industry. He gave importance, and in the years, but unfortunately in the year, my dear students, 1799, Tipu Sultan died while protecting his capital, Srirangapatnam. That was very important and very miserable history in Indian history, that while protecting his capital, Seringapatanam, against the British, Tipu Sultan left his last breath. But while leaving his last breath, Tipu Sultan said, what task I could not complete, what thing I did, the people of India would be inspired by me, and they would teach the British a good lesson in the long run. India would become free from British control. The pathway I showed, they would be inspired. Ultimately, the Indian national movement, during when the British East India Company and later the British government faced a lot of problem, faced a lot of crisis the time when the Indian national movement started throughout the country, the time when the Indian nationalist leaders also organized revolt one by one against the British government. There was none to understand what to do. They could not understand the language of the Indian Congress leaders. They could not understand whether they should talk to the British, whether they should talk to Congress leaders, or they should follow a policy of appeasement. But ultimately, they were forced to follow a policy of appeasement, and ultimately a number of decisions was taken which went in favor of the Indian Congress leaders. We have seen. But my dear students, in this point, 2 points also I should discuss about it. The rise of the British and Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan. Hyder Ali, started his career as a foot soldier, but ultimately he became a great, 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 great ruler by the year 1761. And he, for the first time, felt that without taking help from the European cavalry, they would be unable to check the growing power of the British. That's why, with the help of France and French soldiers, he also made a very powerful army, and that's why it was very easier to him to defeat the British in the First Anglo-Mysore War, which was held in the year 1769, my dear student. But at the same time, it can be said that his son Tipu Sultan also followed the pathway of his father, and ultimately he also proved his talents, his qualities, and was able to crush the growing power of the British. But the British left no stone unturned to check the growing power of Tipu Sultan, the son of Hyder Ali, right? But Hyder Ali, what technique and method he followed, Tipu Sultan, he did not like to follow the same technique and methods. Tipu Sultan wanted to be self-sufficient. At the cost of Indian soldiers, he wanted to make a powerful army, and hence the army they were not acquainted with the system of attacking the British in European style, but in Indian style. That's why the work of the British soldiers had become easier to defeat Tipu Sultan. And hence, Tipu Sultan, while protecting his kingdom, he is protecting his capital, Seringapatnam, he died. And he also established an instance that only fighting, only struggling would be the remedy against injustice done to the Indian rulers by the British. Up to this, my dear students, next day, the remaining part of this lesson I shall teach you. But before that, I would like to suggest you to be well prepared for the online live class. I shall send you message BPO, and I shall also mention the lesson from where I shall conduct one live class for you. If you have any confusion, any doubt, you can talk to me, you can ask me. I shall try to solve your problems. Thank you, my dear students.